You ready to do this, Stu?
I am ready. Punch it, Chewy.
Welcome, super friends, to the Fortress of Nerditude podcast, a safe place to talk about all things in nerd and pop culture. I'm Spencer Stapleton, and my co-pilot is Stu Jones.
That's me.
We're two nerds that just refuse to grow up. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 116. We release every Thursday morning. You can find us on our website, fortnerd.com. We have links to iTunes, Google Music, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and everywhere podcasts are available. Stop by and relax a while. If you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button and get us automatically each and every week in your ear holes. Stu, I just gotta say, it feels good to not feel like death as I said that this week. Last week was a little rough, my friend.
Yeah, you'll be sick again next week.
Probably.
On your vacation.
Well, I'm alive. How are you?
I'm tired. I'm going to take a nap. Wake me up when we're done. I'll say some nice things. It'll be great.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
This week has been crazy, mostly due to weather-related crap. But lots and lots more time with Katina. Some good family time kind of stuff. Mo's been involved and just kind of
Can I jump in and say that you sent me a message after the podcast released that literally I had to stop what I was doing because I started laughing so hard.
Oh.
And that message was, you sent me a message that said, yep, it's now on Facebook. Katina heard the podcast and we had to make it official. And I was in tears.
That was
just in tears.
That was a joke, but the timing, yeah. But no, I mean, it was though. And it was, it actually, it was unexpected. Because she values her privacy and stuff like that, and just no. This week has just, I gotta tell you, man, this week has been, it's been amazing. Just the time that we spend has been fantastic, and it just keeps getting better. And it's really just, not even really doing anything. Like we're not going to Lagoon and Disneyland and rock climbing and all that kind of stuff.
Just kind of quality time?
Just quality time. We watched a lot of Star Trek.
Because you guys watching Discovery, right?
Including 2 hours of it this morning.
Whoa.
Because I'll tell you about the storm crap, but we're at episode 12. I've not watched. So, yeah, and she's got stuff to do the next couple days, and then the 13th is going to be our Valentine's Day because she's involved with the Utah Gay Rodeo Association. They have a rodeo down in Phoenix, so she's leaving the morning of Valentine's Day. But it's our Valentine's Day. We're not going to be watching Star Trek on Valentine's Day, right?
Hey, nothing says romance like Mr. Saru and the Mirror Universe.
Well, I'll tell you, since it's actually going to be the 14th when this is airing, and she will likely be listening to this on the road, I'm going to say to Katana, happy Valentine's. I love you. And I hope you have a great vacation and please drive safe.
That's awesome. But can I ask you a question? Who's Katana?
Katina. Oh, man. I am
You are
so
tired.
I am so tired. I'm sorry, honey. Kill me later. Anyway,
you're in love with a sword. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, hey, it's I'm Deadpool, baby.
Nice.
No, but and then so we did go out Saturday. We went out with a couple of my friends. There's at the Union Tavern in Salt Lake. There's a cosplay karaoke, like the second Saturday of every month. So we went to that, and I had a couple of my friends, Brady and Justin, meet us there. So she could kind of meet my people. We had a really good time. It was nice and casual, a lot of fun at the club, a lot of cosplayers doing karaoke, weird, and just hanging out. And it was good to have like a social setting kind of thing. And then Sunday, she like I said, she volunteers. And they have every second Sunday of every month or thereabouts, they have this chow down where they kind of, I guess, have two competing cuisines. And this time it was like meatloaf versus casserole. So like a bunch of different people bring different casseroles or meatloafs or whatever. And then everyone there can, chip in $5 for the association and then get some food of all that stuff. I gotta say, she made this almond chicken casserole. That would be, the sword katana.
Yeah.
Because she cut up the chicken with the katana. I'm not ever going to dig myself out of this, so I'm just hoping to overplay it.
Just roll with it. Yeah, just go with it. Yeah.
But it was freaking amazing, and she actually made me an extra pan. Well, didn't intend to, but all the stuff fit in one pan with some leftover. And,
hey, accidental cooking, still cooking.
Yeah, and I've been enjoying the hell out of that today. So yeah, we just hanging out. So yeah, and then yesterday, so we went to that. We were supposed to pick up Morgana to bring her home. We were going to leave the club at 6:30, pick her up by 7, come back. By 6 o'clock, it was already like North Pole level storming starting to come down. By the time she actually was able to leave half an hour early, so we left. We picked up Mo. By then, it was just almost non-drivable, and we had to scrap the idea of coming back up home. So we actually went to Katina's house last night, stayed the night there, but then had to wake up at 4, or we woke up about 4 a.m., did all her stuff, left her place, came here, and then it was still, the traffic was still miserable, especially going back down towards Salt Lake. So she ended up staying here a little while, and that's, when we watched a couple episodes of Star Trek, and then she ended up going back home.
Nice.
So I won't be seeing her again until our Valentine's Day on Wednesday. But since we're already airing this, her Valentine's Day gift is watching the last episode of Star Trek, despite all my protesting.
Uh-huh.
And her favorite colors are teal, purple, and red. And she's going to get a very nice bouquet of a whole bunch of flowers in those colors.
Nice.
So
nice.
She got me a new tank for my vape, so very traditional Valentine's Day gift there.
Sure, yeah, that's what I think of.
And then I know. And then also something arrived from Amazon that was from there, and she got like a whole bunch when we were at her place on Saturday. She got a whole bunch of packages, and then she has that Amazon Echo, and it's like she gets there and it's like, "What have I missed, Amazon?" And Amazon's like, "You had this and this delivered." And it was like it was a double boiler, but then there were also several other packages.
Oh.
So Amazon almost gave away my Valentine's gift.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I don't know what's still waiting for me, but Amazon knows. So anyway, I mean, it's just day in the life of a guy in a new romantic relationship where he's got puppy dog eyes and all that crap. So
see, it's funny to listen to you. It's exciting.
I'm sure it is.
Because I hear you say like, oh, we're doing this for Valentine's Day and this for Valentine's Day and flowers and special colors. And I'm thinking, I'm not doing a dang thing for Valentine's Day. I've been married for 10 years and, almost 10 years this June. And I got this big trip coming up with the family. I haven't thought of Valentine's Day until today when you were just talking. I was like, oh, yeah, that's a thing people do.
Yep. And then I'm also getting a single rose and a small box of chocolates from Morgana, but she gets Valentine's.
Yeah. We had to take the boys out to go get Valentine's stuff so they can take it to school for Thursday. So we did that tonight. That's about all I got for Valentine's Day.
You old softy.
I will tell you something though. I made a meal on Sunday evening yesterday. Typically when I go to Costco, like I know what I want to buy when I go there, right? Like I have my idea, like I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. But we tend to go on the craziest day of the week, which is Saturdays, because they have all the taste tests, and the boys just go wild. They really enjoy going up there and doing the taste tests. When we were
samples,
yeah, getting them samples, man. We call them taste tests with the boys, and they'll ask them questions about the food.
Man, there's an inside joke with Katina about that and one of her friends, but that's a story for another time.
So anyway, Charlie tried some of the carne asada that they put with like a little bit of salsa, and it's very, very mild salsa, and he loved it. Just loved it. It's like, Daddy, this is great. So I went and bought the carne asada because I enjoyed it, and I made up that carne asada yesterday evening. And typically I try not to like overload the kids with food when I make, a meal. But for some reason I gave them a ton of carne asada last night, and they ate it all. They just kept eating and kept eating. And it's usually not like I usually try things, but I don't buy that thing because it doesn't always seem to live up the hype. I'm thinking of a couple of years ago, I bought some, I don't know, it was some like little noodles things. I was like, oh, that tasted kind of good. But then when I bought it and tried making it, it just wasn't the same. But this carne asada, it's called like Bill Bailey's carne asada. Really good flavoring, and really enjoyed it. So we did that over the weekend. I had a motorcycle club meeting. We're preparing for the Fallen Patriot ride, which will come up at the end of May, Memorial Day weekend. And so we're kind of going through the planning right now, making sure all the things that we need to have in order to make it a successful event. Looking for sponsors, that sort of thing. So we had a meeting. We'd had some good planning for that. And then the rest of the week, man, is just work and really like preparing for this upcoming trip. I mean, doing some dry run packing, making sure we've got everything, last minute things, trying to figure out what we're doing for breakfast foods, because apparently we're doing like a food meal plan, but that really is only like lunches and dinners. So we're trying to figure out if we want to have like food shipped to our hotel room so we can have like breakfast in the room, or if we want to, I don't know, do something. But that's just my whole week, man. It's just literally I'm trying to prepare every last minute possible thing we can, work-wise, home-wise, so that when I get on that plane Saturday morning, I'm literally unplugging from everything for 2 weeks. I'm not going to check my phone. I'm not going to check social media. I'm not going to be looking at work emails, nothing. I'm just going to enjoy 2 weeks with my family.
There you go.
And that's my plan, man.
Do it.
If you don't hear from me, which you probably won't for 2 weeks, just know that either I'm completely
it's a
alive,
vacation for me as well with you being gone.
or I'm completely dead. one or the other. I'm completely alive or I'm completely dead. You'll find out in 2 weeks.
Fortress of Nerditude Lost at Sea.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm not bringing Mike, so I'm not going to record that episode. Here I am, holding onto the door. Anyway, that's pretty much what I got for my week wrap-up, Stu.
Wow. I got to say, mine sounds more exciting.
Yeah, you got a lot more going on, man. It's just nuts and bolts for me. I'm not in a new relationship. I'm just trying to get crap done so I can get out and enjoy a vacation. And
it's not a new relationship for you anymore. It's just, almost 10 years. It's run of the mill at this point.
I mean, pretty much I can put it on autopilot. Yeah, pretty much. We did have an interesting conversation though, and I'll ask you this question and think about it and then get back to me because I'm not expecting an answer. My 40th birthday comes up like literally 3 or 4 days after I come back from the trip. And Brita said, "What do you want?" I have no clue what I want for my birthday. Just like I don't have a single clue.
PlayStation VR.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But like for me, like I don't have like this real big urge to like want a thing maybe necessarily. And she said, "Well, why don't you take a trip?" She's like, "You can go somewhere, or maybe, go with a buddy or something and take a trip and go somewhere." I'm like, "Oh, maybe I could save up a little bit of money and then, I don't know, go somewhere."
Well, I said PlayStation VR, but I was just being intentionally vague. You really want Beat Saber. You just want to pay a lot of money for Beat Saber.
Yeah. Yeah. See,
but you do. You really do.
That's the thing. I have no real concept. Now, there's maybe a couple of video games, and we'll kind of maybe talk about that a little bit later, but it's just, I don't know, man. And it's supposed to be like this big, 40th birthday, let's celebrate, and family's now asking me, and I'm just like, I don't know. I really haven't given it any thought.
This was the first awesome birthday I've had in a long time, so I have zero context for what works for birthdays.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll take a trip. Maybe I'll go to Boston and go do some Revolutionary
Comic-Con.
War stuff. I thought about the Comic-Con thing too, and that's kind of a possibility. But also,
the legally trademarked San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, of course. I also do have a passport now, so if I could find cheap round trip tickets to Europe somewhere, I mean.
Passport.
Oh, see, there you go, huh? Someone told me they're like, yeah, I found a round trip ticket for $450 to Paris, and I'm like, from Paris, I could get like a train and like go to like Normandy and like, go see some like World War II things maybe. I don't know. Super Friends, if you have any ideas, send them my way and, I'll look through them or something.
That's the new question of the week.
What should Spencer do for his 40th birthday? It's coming up in a few weeks.
No, really, that's a good question of the week. Anyway.
Okay. Well, we'll recycle that later. Be prepared for that. Here's a little foreshadowing. All right, Stu, let's just murder.
We'll
let's
call
just kill
back to that
Bothans.
later.
What do you say?
Sweet. Pew, 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 pew.
I always have to let you know, many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Rest in peace, you Bothans.
All right, Stu, Rebel Intelligence this week. What do you have for me?
Oh, a nap.
Wow. How is that going to go over?
It's going fantastic. All right. Evangeline Lilly.
Oh, yes.
We haven't had one of those in a little while.
Here's the thing. I will support that. Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. Everything's gone crazy. No. So, she found out that, Mr. JJ was making a new Star Wars movie.
And she's friends with JJ.
Yeah. So this would have been like Force Awakens kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And apparently it's the only time she's ever put a call out, which would be where an actor's requesting a role, right?
Sure, yeah.
She wanted to be Leia.
Huh.
So, and I mean, I don't know if she wasn't aware of the context that it was going to be like Leia and Luke and all them were going to be the old people in this one or whatever, because I don't really picture her in an older lady role, but that's fine. But, she loved Leia when she was a kid. One of her fantasies was to be involved in Star Wars, wanted to be Princess Leia, basically. So, movies coming around, she knows that there's a role for Princess Leia, puts the word out that she wants to be involved in it. But yeah, I mean...
So if Star Wars would have picked up like right after Return of the Jedi and they needed to cast a young actress, could you see her in that role?
Well... Maybe not specifically, like I wouldn't see her and go, oh my god, she's Leia. But I think she would have looked more like Leia than older Carrie Fisher would have looked like Leia right after Return of the Jedi being filmed that many years later, right? So, I mean, I think she could have done it. I mean, she's beautiful. She's well-spoken. I think she has kind of that serene visual quality that I think would have lent herself to Leia. So, maybe. No reason that I've seen given for why she didn't get the part, but I mean,
story-wise,
Fisher, I mean. So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting because you really have like the given roles in the trilogy anyway. The only people that we see visually now, of course, like R2-D2, Darth Vader, the people in stuff. Well, no, not even R2-D2. I meant, Chewbacca and Darth Vader, different actors inside the suits at times, whatever. But Obi-Wan's the only one that I can recall off the top of my head that was actually played by a different actor in the same role. Because even the Emperor, even though we went back in time with him.
Ian McDiarmid played the role through all the movies,
So it would have been interesting to see a different actress playing Leia.
Now, technically, there was a different actor playing Chewbacca in
that's what I mean is like the ones that are in outfits. So.
But as far as like face characters, I think you're right. I think the only one that changed was Obi-Wan. Which makes obvious sense because Sir Alec Guinness died, and the whole de-aging thing, it's kind of like, remember at the end of Rogue One where you see the young Princess Leia and like they did all that digitally, and they did the same thing with Moff Tarkin, and like
Princess Leia, I thought they did really well. Tarkin looked a little weird.
Yeah, it's that uncanny valley. I actually thought both of them looked a little weird, if I'm being perfectly honest there, but it's kind of like, look at what they did with Oh, Michael Douglas and like Ant-Man and the Wasp, where they go back in time and like kind of like do the de-aging kind of stuff. Like that technology is getting better, but I wouldn't want to do a whole movie where they did something like that, right? So
Right.
I could see casting a younger, like Evangeline Lilly for that role had the story gone that way, but obviously, it didn't. So
Yeah.
we got the older. Let's see here, Stu. Let's talk about you needing a nap and being tired. I get there's a rumor, some news that's not spoilery. I just want to say that now about Avengers Endgame. So apparently there's a rumor that Marvel is considering putting an intermission in Avengers Endgame
What?
because they're saying that currently on the current edit, the current edit of the film, it's clocking in at just like a little over 3 hours. Now, hearing this, I'm okay with a 3-hour Avengers film because I think there's a lot to tie up and could be a lot to happen. But an intermission? Granted, I'm thankful for a pee break like anyone else. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know if that's something that's needed. How do you just hearing that? How does that strike you? A 3-hour movie taking an intermission.
It doesn't sit well. Sit well. No, we've had 3.5 hour movies. Extended Lord of the Rings stuff, even Lord of the Rings.
Even Lord of the Rings,
pre-extended, right.
Right.
I haven't seen an intermission since drive-in movies when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather get through the movie and not break up the action or, break up the tempo of the movie.
That's kind of my thought too. Like, what does that do for the pacing of the film?
Yeah. I'm against it 100%.
Now, there are movies in the past that have had intermissions and, like old school, like I'm talking like, Ben-Hur and, like the Ten Commandments and Lawrence of Arabia and like really kind of old school stuff. And so I'm going to say this right now. If you're going to do an intermission, put like an overture on it. Do like the little like overture and they do that and then they play the music to kind of like bring it back in or something. Because that at least would make it feel kind of like a throwback or something. Like you give it, some sort of like something just to, don't make it be like, and we're taking the obligatory pee break.
Yeah.
Something. Anyway, it's a rumor. Who knows? It could go through other edits. This thing could get chopped down to 2.5 hours and, probably not going to happen with an intermission. But currently that's what they're looking at. I'm okay with a 3-hour movie. I don't really care for the idea of the intermission. Just me personally.
Well, there you go. So speaking of potty breaks, I'm sure you've heard of the Apple FaceTime bug. So basically there was a flaw where if you started a multi-person call and then canceled it as you were dialing the second person, it would leave the audio open for everyone that was involved in the channel, something like that. I've seen a couple different versions of that. But anyway, so there was a 14-year-old kid who was the one who discovered this flaw. Apparently, when he recognized the flaw, his mother tried to contact Apple a few times. They basically kind of did the brush off, like no big deal. Apple does have kind of like a bug bounty. So I don't know if that's just kind of like a way to avoid it, whatever. But then, of course, social media went crazy about this bug. It was all over everywhere, including LinkedIn. Lots of people very seriously concerned about this thing. Finally, after it's gone viral, Apple does come back. They disabled the group FaceTime entirely. After over a week, they finally get back in touch with the kid, and so he's actually going to be getting a reward.
Really?
Yep. And then I had that in front of me, and then I lost it because words on screens. I don't think it was that I don't think they released it. I think it's that they have an up to $12,000 reward, something like that.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm gonna start tearing apart
Right?
all the Apple software and trying to find all those bugs. Maybe introduce some of my own.
I think you probably go to prison for that, or Apple jail or something.
Apple jail. All you get is apple slices to eat.
And, they come and arrest you and they lock you up in somewhere inside a Cupertino and just feed you apple slices.
I do need more fruit in my diet.
I think there's easier ways to go about that, Stu. Just saying.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to have to cut my own apples.
The epitome of lazy. Let me get arrested by fake police so I can get sliced apples for me.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that the kid found this. I think it's really cool that Apple's going to kind of take care of him and take, pay him off, give him something for his effort and bringing it to their attention. But I mean, if it's only up to $12,000, I mean, this is a massive, massive security bug that would have left them liable for all sorts of shenanigans. I mean,
oh, sure. And it had only been a few weeks prior that they even had a billboard in Vegas that had happens on your iPhone, stays on your iPhone.
Oh, well, of course, because it's Vegas, right?
But yeah, that turned out not to be true.
I'm just saying, toss the kid a couple more ducats, make it make it really worth his time, Pay the kid off. Do it right. They got the cash. It's not like they're hurting.
Yeah, so speaking of, Fortress of Nerditude does have an offer for anyone that finds any bugs in our podcast that Spencer will make you a pork chop pizza.
No. It was really good, really good try. I was like, well, what am I going to agree to? Sure. Wait, no.
I don't even get my pork chop pizza.
Wah, 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 wah. One day I'm just going to come over to your house with a pizza, literally with a big old pork chop slapped on the top of it. And we're like, it's there, just fine.
Oh, you can't even bother to put the pork chop inside the pizza?
I mean, I could, but, what's the point?
Terrible.
I'm not going to slice up your apples for you either, okay? You got to go to
What are you even here for?
Fake apple prison. All right, so let me ask you a question, Stu. Are you a big musical guy?
Oh, yes. I would like to think so.
Enough that you've seen musicals and you've gone to some shows.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not I wouldn't say I'm.
I wouldn't say big, but I more definitely more than the average dude. I think.
I would definitely say I'm more than the average dude. I mean, I kind of grew up as a theater kid in high school, and
Yep.
And was into all that sort of stuff, and I've seen lots of shows and lots of musicals that come through. I'm always kind of sketchy, though, on the musicals turned movie, because some of those are good and some of those are not so good. Or the casting is really bad, or they just kind of cast people, I think, to try to cash in on big names, maybe.
Let me ask you, have you seen The Last 5 Years?
The last
That's the name of it.
No.
That's funny because when I heard it, I thought they were talking different contexts too. The list that I talked about of stuff that Katina and I need to watch.
Yeah.
That's her favorite musical, and I need to watch that. So I was just curious.
No, I haven't seen that one. Well, there's a big musical that's been on Broadway for quite a long time now. My wife has seen it, I think, a few times. I technically saw it once when it came to Salt Lake, but we were up in the nosebleeds, and I didn't know any of the music at the time. And because we were in the nosebleeds, I couldn't see much, and I didn't enjoy it. This musical's Wicked, and I know that it's a beloved musical, right?
Yep.
And they've been trying to get this thing to go to a movie and get it adapted for the big screen for a while, but it's kind of stalled out. But apparently now they've got a director, Stephen Daldry, who previously was going to do the standalone Obi-Wan Kenobi film that's kind of been, shelved after the Solo film, quote unquote, failed at the box office. Which, by the way, I rewatched the Solo movie. Yeah, it's a decent movie. Anyway, but
no comment.
But rewatch it. Give it a second chance.
I've rewatched it. I'm done.
Okay. Anyway, so they're gonna do a Wicked movie They're working on adapting it. It's going to be coming out, sometime probably in the next few years. I think they're looking at a schedule somewhere in 2021, maybe towards the end of the year, December. I think here's my problem with something like this. Once again, this is my problem, I think, with a lot of musicals that go to the big screen, is that you got to fill big shoes, right? With a big production like this, you got to have the right people. You got to have the right people that can act, that can sing.
That can dance.
I mean, some of these musicals, yes, some of them no, right? But you can't slot in people that just look the right part, but can't do the singing and the acting part. Like you got to have the full package. And so if you're into musicals and if you loved Wicked, and I know a lot of people do,
you're not trying to dig on Ewan McGregor, are you?
No, I think Ewan McGregor's a fine actor, but Russell Crowe is
I'm
not
saying in
a
his
good
musical
singer. You see what
okay,
I'm saying?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's people like, he looks the part, he's a phenomenal actor, singing.
Fair.
Same thing kind of with Anne Hathaway. But all I'm saying is that I hope they do this right. If you're a big fan, I hope this is going to hit for you. But I mean, no Kristen Chenoweth, no Idina Menzel. Those were the big powerhouses in that original Broadway, cast. Them are big ruby slippers to fill. That's all I'm saying.
There you go.
There you go.
You should go to Broadway for your birthday.
If Hamilton were playing there, maybe I'd do that again. I love that show.
Nice. So we saw with Captain Marvel that she has some blunt force interaction with a Blockbuster Video.
Yes.
She's coming through the roof. And we know this is all kind of what, like 80s. Is it 80s or 90s? 80s? 90s. 9-Inch Nail t-shirt, that kind of thing. What do you think of when you think of the 90s? Like, what else do you think of? Like, say, what about the internet in the 90s? What do you think of?
I think of like AOL.
Oh, yeah.
The old dial-up frickin', calling the long distance until we finally got a local number, which made my dad much happier.
The stacks and stacks of coasters.
Try to download
AOL labeled on the.
Try to download a picture of Kathy Ireland that took like 3 hours to download. Yeah.
We may need to talk about that later.
Seriously.
Anyway, Angel Fire, GeoCities, MSN, all those ancient, terrible, horrible websites with lots of glitter and stars and neon and Comic Sans.
Get out of here. Just stop.
www.marvel.com/Captain Marvel. They have made a 90s GeoCities-like website for Captain Marvel, and it's as horrible as you could imagine it would ever be.
Seriously.
With segmented banners and pop-out graphics and clip art and it is just, and like the aliasing around all the images and even a little Easter egg, it looks like. I'm sitting here messing around with it right now, and I don't know what I did, but a little Carol Danvers image popped out of the left side of the screen for a moment.
So you know how
it's got a section on who are the Skrulls.
There you go.
Can you spot the Skrull? Play now.
Does it remind you of like the old Space Jam website that's still up? That's been up since like that movie came out?
No.
You should go check out that website. That's pretty 90s.
I'm
fantastic.
doing important work right now. Oh, it's even got a counter of visitors. That's as 90s as it gets.
Yep. So many billion burgers sold. How many people visited today? Really, that's actually kind of a cool marketing idea though. Right? I mean, to have the movie set in the 90s, to then put up a website that's that. I mean, it's kitschy, but it's kind of, it's kind of smart.
The only problem with that is that it actually has a link to get tickets, and we all know you couldn't really do that very well back then.
No.
Not from a website.
But still, that's kind of a cool idea.
It's fun. I mean, there's a ton of crud on that page, but yeah, it's terrible and awesome all at the same time.
Nice.
Including Nick Fury petting his cat.
Aww.
Aww. Your turn.
Okay, so I have a piece of Rebel Intelligence that I'm really excited by, and I also really forgot that this was happening. This was a thing. I don't know if you remember, but quite a while back ago, we talked about how James Cameron got the rights back to the Terminator series.
Yeah.
And he basically was saying that he's going to pick kind of up where Terminator 2 Judgment Day left off and basically try to
we're doing that whole ignoring all the between movies thing
not really kind of erasing, but hey, now that he's got creative control back over his own intellectual property that he came up with, he wants to kind of, end this thing the way he's wants to.
He's gonna skip one of the Ghostbusters movies, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's gonna George Lucas the crap out of this thing. So,
we're getting a special edition and a family edition and a different edition on DVD?
Yeah, most likely.
Sweet.
But basically, though, we're gonna get a sixth Terminator movie, and James Cameron has come out and revealed the title. It's going to be called Terminator Dark Fate. Now, that's a working title. I don't know if that's what it's going to end up being. I don't know how that necessarily strikes me, but just the fact that there's some more information about this, and I kind of completely forgot about this, and I love Terminator, and I love Terminator 2. All the other kind of stuff is just kind of it's there. But the first two are just fantastic. And the fact James Cameron's coming back on board and going to take control. I'd forgotten about this, and so I'm super, super, super happy that this is a real thing and going to happen. How does that strike you, Stu? Dark Fate.
I mean, following X-Men Dark Phoenix, I don't know. I just dark this, dark that. It screams to me 90s goth kid. Like John Connor. So.
Yeah, which he is, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I personally don't like the title. And I've kind of lost faith in the franchise. I'm going to have to wait till everyone's telling me how crazy good it was to really be interested.
Now, let me ask you this. Is it that you've lost faith in the franchise, or you've lost faith in James Cameron?
The franchise.
Okay. That's fair.
James Cameron's a boss. I know that.
Yeah, that's fair. As long as the Na'vi don't show up in this thing, I'm okay. Because I'm not on board with the old, the second and the third and the fourth of those movies we're going to get. But.
So, I'm sorry, I have to go back. I've been sitting here just scrolling back and forth on the Captain Marvel site. There's one of those little guest books.
You can sign it?
I think it's stuff as if it were made in the 90s. I don't think you actually can, but one of them. Does anyone actually use the pound sign? In 3 years, no one will be using the pound sign.
That's funny.
That's funny.
That's
subtle. Funny.
Yeah, I like that. That's.
I don't got anything else, though.
Yeah, that's the last thing I got, too.
We can terminate this?
I'll be back next week.
Remember when I said I'd kill you last? I lied.
All right, Stu. Last week we had a conversation. We talked about streaming media and kind of how the television landscape has changed. And I really enjoyed that conversation, by the way. I was thinking about it for a couple days after that conversation, just because it really has been a big seismic shift just in my lifetime alone. But we didn't want to ask a question of our super friends necessarily related to that, because it was just kind of a general conversation. It was good, but nothing specific. But we did ask for our super friends to ask us a question, something we could answer.
Ooh, I'm nervous.
And I'm going to say this. I totally was trying to get some leading questions, ask about Stu's love life. He totally wants to this. I'll let you off the hook now, so you're not going to fret. No one asked you about that.
I told you they wouldn't.
I'm a little disappointed. I'm going to be honest. I'm a little disappointed.
It's not like I leave any questions unanswered anyway, so. Any that are going to get answered.
Well, there you go. So let's start over with Peter Christensen on the email. And he says, Dear nerds, I see the binge versus weekly release schedule in terms of business models. Advertising-based shows will do better on a schedule, while subscription-driving shows are fine to release a season at a time. I think Game of Thrones is an exception because each episode basically has the hype, the production value, and budget of a small movie, so business-wise it's more like a cinematic universe. I remember Netflix binging when it was on DVD, staying up late to finish the 3 episodes on a DVD so we could mail it back and get more.
Right.
24 was our show choice for that. Now the ability to revisit beloved shows like Parks and Rec, which we're currently rewatching, which so am I. Friday Night Lights, 30 Rock, Marvel, Netflix, etc. is priceless. Forget appointment TV. I don't even like watching shows before they're off the air. Cheers, Peter Christensen.
No, I actually watched. So I'm rewatching Game of Thrones still. Today I got to the Red Wedding, and that hurt. I forgot. I knew it was brutal. I forgot how brutal that actually got.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
Anyway.
brutal one. All right.
Anyway, no, good thoughts. But does he have a question?
No question. However,
Okay.
God of War. Do some push-ups.
World of Warcraft.
Do some
God
sit-ups.
of World of Warcraft.
All right. We have another email from Tim.
And I forgot to do my homework.
From Tim Paulin. He says, Hey guys, what are your top 5 television shows all time? Thanks for all you do, Tim Paulin. And it says, sent from my Atari 2600, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Your top 5 television shows of all time, Stu.
Battlestar Galactica is right on top.
You're talking the remake.
Yep.
Okay.
Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Daredevil's season 1. Oof. Now it's going to get a little tougher. Parks and Rec, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really off the cuff, so with a little more preparation, I'd have it all. But I gotta say, Knight Rider.
Knight Rider, the original, not the reboot.
And this was the enjoyment level I had of Knight Rider when it was current. So me watching it now, not enjoying it as much as I did back when it was there. But when I was a kid, Knight Rider was the bomb.
Interesting.
Oh, and then, but we just talked about all the Star Treks, so I've already categorized them off to the side. Discovery's got to be up there too.
Okay.
So that's my list without Star Trek stuff, because otherwise it's
Star Trek
shows,
yeah.
And Battlestar Galactica.
So I just read this, by the way, for the first time, so I'm not prepared either. But right at the top of my list is The West Wing. I loved that show. I know that sounds a little odd. We do a podcast about kind of nerd and pop culture stuff, but I just enjoyed the kind of the political intrigue and seeing the senior staff working around the White House. I loved that show.
The senior staff, senior citizen staff.
Well, now, sure, yeah. So the West Wing, gosh, I'd have to say, oh man, top 5 of all time. Oh, I'd probably say Parks and Rec, as far as comedy stuff. Like that's just up there. Community, also for comedy, could be up there. I mean, that could go in and out, but
if it's only like the first 2 or 3 seasons,
yeah, about the first 4 seasons for me. Then it kind of falls off. Gosh. I'd say The Wire. on HBO. I loved that. And then probably Battlestar Galactica. I think that's kind of where I'm at. It's hard because it's hard to like quantify. It's like, okay, of all time, it's like, are we talking?
Well, and there have been so many shows throughout your life too. Are you really remembering all of them that you liked over time? And
that's the thing. It's like, because I've got Star Treks and I can fill up just Star Trek stuff, right? But I'm kind of like you, kind of putting that aside because it's like, how do
Clone Wars? Dang it,
right? Yeah, Survivor. Like, oh, okay, no, Survivor has to go there. That's in one of my top 5. I watched that.
Maybe like the first 6 or 7 of those.
Not for me, man. I've watched.
You're still
every single season.
Wow.
I'm religious on that show. I love it. That's a good man, Tim. That's a really good question.
Season 1 was still the best ever of Survivor.
I actually don't think so anymore. I think there's been much better seasons, but it was the season that introduced the whole concept and the whole idea.
Oh, I think, what was his name? Richard, the guy that won?
Yeah, Richard
the nudist
Hatch.
guy.
He was strategic, but people really took it to a whole nother level later down the road.
Yeah, but that was for showmanship later. Like, I don't know. Anyway.
Man, good question though, Tim. Like, that's something I think if I were to think about it again tomorrow, I could probably come up with almost a different list. But yeah, man, good question. All right, let's move on. Thank you, Tim. Over on Twitter, Hollywood Bones, Patrick Novacell at Nova Beyond, which I will see this upcoming weekend when I go to Disney World. Surprisingly not, we're going to be down there at the exact same time and staying in this same hotel. So I'm going to get some time to see Patrick. He says, now don't get me wrong, I love the Battle Royale genre, but it seems everyone is getting in on the action with the newest release of Apex Legends. Do you think we're on the verge of a Battle Royale bubble pop? Do you think the game space might be oversaturated of Battle Royale games?
Absolutely. I mean, this is the cycle. We start off with MMOs, they start taking off, there's a million of them, and then suddenly everything collapses and there's a bunch of free-to-plays that show up every now and then just to kind of get a cash grab, and then they fade away. MOBAs, League of Legends and Dota 2 and all that stuff. Tons of MOBAs around, and then they kind of collapse and only the kings survive. That's the flavor of the month right now, so to speak, is Battle Royales. Everybody's got them. I mean, even Battle Royale modes are popping up in games that didn't have them before.
Right, Call of Duty?
Yes. So yeah, it's going to pop there. I would expect Fortnite to still keep that forever. But yeah, all the rest of them are going to kind of go away, but we'll still have cash grabs here and there until the next big thing.
Have you looked at Apex Legends yet?
No, not even interested.
I looked at it and I'm going to download it. Oh, well, I mean, I've got it in my cart, but I'm going to download it and I'm going to give it a try because I do enjoy the Battle Royale genre, but I played H1Z1 and I kind of didn't care for it. It was fine, but it seemed very generic. It seemed kind of like a ripoff of PUBG. Like it was just,
7 Days to Die was even before that.
Yeah, but like Fortnite, because of the more kind of arcade feel to it, and because of the building aspect, feels different. And Apex Legends kind of has a little more of an arcade shooter feel to it, but it doesn't have the building component, and I hate the building component in Fortnite. That's why I stopped trying to play that game, because if you don't build, you're not going to win, and that's kind of the conclusion I got to.
Build or die.
Yeah, and because the end, it's just like, who can build the tallest tower and outflank the person on the biggest tower, and I was like, I don't like that. I was like, I just want to kill things. I don't want to have to build and flip back and forth. I kind of liked Apex Legends from what I saw of it. I've watched a little bit of it. Here's the thing, though. I do think we are going to see the bubble pop on the Battle Royale. And I think it'll go back down to maybe like 2, maybe 3 that'll kind of hang around tops. But I think we're in for every first-person shooter game is going to have a Battle Royale component for the next little while.
Yep.
And, it is what it is. It's a fun kind of quick play type thing, and I enjoy that aspect of it. But I'm not paying money for skins just so I look different, especially when the guns are all the same and there's no real tactical advantage. It's not a pay to win sort of thing. It's just, hey, I want to look different. I could care less about how I look, because the only time I see how I look is when I die, which is frequently, or...
Well, yeah, thus you want to, at least enjoy what you're looking at over
No,
and over
I'm not me, man. I'm dead. What do I care? That or when I'm in the lobby, and that's like, I'm just waiting for the game. So, like I said, I think it'll pop. I think we'll get down to a couple, but I do think that genre game will last. I mean, like you said with the MMOs, we still have World of Warcraft. It's still out there. There still are other MMOs that are out there as well, but unless they find staying power, most are going to fall away. But I think...
Yeah, even big AAA production MMOs, like they have a month or two, and then they fade away.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to Pantheon MMO. It's kind of like built by the guy who did original EverQuest. It has some of the same concepts from the original EverQuest, but I expect kind of the same thing. But yeah, that's really where what we're running into with Battle Royale stuff, for sure.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that was the last of the questions we had this week. It was, like I said, you got off easy, man.
Wow.
No one.
The
really...
Super Friends had like carte blanche to just rip us apart and see everything on the inside.
I know. And I try to be as honest with these things as I possibly can, and leave it all out there. But no, we.
Yeah, see, I would have done the same thing within the realm of not being single at the end of the question.
Gotcha. Yeah, and if someone tried trapping you, is what you're saying, you would have definitely maneuvered away from that. I gotcha.
Absolutely.
Should we ask each other a question then? No, let's not do that because we'll get into trouble.
No. I like this.
All right.
Okay. Oh, well, the problem is you asked first.
No.
Okay, maybe we should just move on.
That's probably wise.
Okay.
Probably wise. Stu,
I see that look in your eye.
I'm like, I want to wait to judge what kind of question I'm going to ask based on what you asked to know how I need to retaliate. Super Friends are out there. They're doing stuff. How can our Super Friends help us this week?
They can actually kind of go back about 40 minutes and just kind of erase the whole katana thing. Save my butt a little bit. While you're doing that and messing around with the audio controls, you can also just kind of bring up iTunes in your browser. Find us there because I know you're already subscribed. Should be pretty easy. Hit that 5th star there. Bling! And make all our troubles go away.
So you really want the Super Friends to go back and to cut out the katana part? Two on the nose with the pun? Not quite. It could have been better. Yeah.
It could have been so much better.
it cut pretty deep, I gotta say.
Oh, it was bladed. So, yeah. Do that 5-star iTunes thing. And then, of course, when you've got some friends that are talking about nerdy stuff, comics, movies, video games, all that kind of thing, or hopeless romantic nerds who finally found love and can't shut up about it and you just want to, choke them to death, bring up the podcast. Let them know.
How often do you talk to hopeless romantic nerds that can't stop talking that you want to choke them to death? I'm just curious because that seems like a very
I never do, but
subset.
You seem to every week.
That's true. All right, Stu. So I want to ask you a question. Did you play the Anthem demo at all?
Oh, it's funny you should ask that. I tried. I mean, I played. If you mean by playing that I roamed around in the little city, ogled over everything going, ooh, this is actually kind of nice. It feels a lot more lively than Destiny did. And then sat at the load screen for the first dungeon for way too much time. Yes, I played the Anthem demo.
Okay. So tell me about it. Was there missions or like little missions you could play other than like the dungeon, or is
There were, from what I saw, again, being very limited because I only ever got to the load screen and I never got past that. There were kind of like the same setup with Destiny where you've got like a small mission, you've got like a group dungeon, and then you've got a raid kind of thing or something.
Okay.
That's really as much as I knew about it because, again, I didn't actually get into them. But they were kind of just demoing, each of the 3 different major play types that you're going to have as you're going through Anthem.
Yeah.
But I did see some comments about some other things in the game that I didn't see during that part of the demo, leading me to believe that maybe you were unlocking some stuff. I don't know. But I never got the chance to level up. I never got the chance to actually even shoot anything. So, wah.
Yeah. So obviously I've heard the news. If you listen to any video game podcasts, a lot of people the last week or two have been talking about the demo, the open beta, that there's been issues, right? That they were having problems with their servers and whatnot, which, don't get me wrong, I'm okay if that happens during an open beta because I'd rather the company figure that stuff out before it goes live.
Well, the problem is that it wasn't an open beta. It was a demo from their standpoint. It was a demo the whole time, and they even after all the problems were like, this was still meant to be a demo, and it wasn't an open beta. Blah blah blah. Yes, whatever. It was an open beta.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because this is a game that like we've talked about and we've been like really really hyped about, and I haven't pre-ordered it because I know it's coming out while I'm going to be on vacation. When I come back, it'll have been out for just a little over a week or so. Seeing the troubles you had logging in, seeing how beautiful you said it looked, but then not really being able to do anything, how do you feel about this game after that experience?
Fine.
Okay.
I that hasn't changed. That has not changed my opinion about the game whatsoever. And the reason for this is that you really kind of have to tear apart why they even put out a demo in the first place. What is a demo even for? To kind of get to what I was looking for in the demo. I would say that Anthem is doing it really strangely. A demo is meant to generate hype. One of the purposes of a demo is to generate hype. You play a level, you play a couple levels, you play a significant event in the game, something like that gives you broad strokes what you're expecting to play once you actually have the game. The tricky thing is in order to get to the VIP demo of this, which was the first 3 days, you basically had to pre-order the game. So you're playing a demo of a game meant to generate hype and get you to want to buy the game that you actually already bought.
Right.
Which that also kind of supports it's an open beta disguised as a demo kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was already expecting. I really didn't even really want to play the demo once I started downloading it. I have in the past played a lot of open betas for games, and then found that I wish I hadn't because I would have liked to have had all that be fresh when I played it, especially MMOs and things like that. I don't want to already know how to kill the raid boss the first time when I go to it. I want the first time I'm experiencing it to be with my character that I've just been leveling up and playing. So you bring up an interesting thing, right? So you're saying like some of these games you can play for a longer period. So like going back in history, I remember some of the first, I'll say like demo games I ever played were like Wolfenstein 3D and Doom, right? Because those were actually shareware games, which is a little different, right? Because you'd get a game and basically you could play like maybe like the first level or the first little bit. And then if you wanted to play the rest, then you'd pay and you'd unlock it. But like you literally had the whole game. But I mean, that is really an effective demo where they've just moved the paywall to your computer rather than their storefront.
Right. But that was like the early 90s, man. You'd get that on floppy disks, like 5 1/4 or 3 1/2 back in the day.
Oh man, I had all those CDs from like PC Gamer.
Right, okay.
All that kind of stuff that had like 20 different demos on a disc. I would get that for the demo.
Yes, so that's what I was going to say. Like, I was going to ask you, did you do that? Like, because I know I did. I'd go buy that magazine just because I wanted the demo disc.
No, I didn't, Spencer.
Did you just slice a little plastic and take the demo disc then, you thief?
No, I did. I did actually get those because I did actually like. They would also have like the hints sections, and
right?
Stuff like that. So,
and like that was a
anyway.
that was a pretty big thing. But then obviously now you really don't get a CD anymore, right? You don't go out and get a PC Gamer magazine because it's all just downloads, right? You just download it to your console, to your PC. But it seems like now you get a level. But then if you want to purchase the whole game, you still have to go purchase the whole game when the game comes out. It's not kind of the whole here, now you just activate this and continue on, right?
Right. Well, you have, I mean, demos do still exist, and actually kind of in that fashion, but not for the general consumer because, like you said, we can download it.
Right.
Beta testing is really the new demo. Early access on Steam, if you will, which I think is a horrible system because then you're putting the developmental advice that you're looking for in the hands of people that have already played the game and have their own vested interest in it rather than objective review and suggestion. Excuse me. And some games sit in early access for years.
Right.
So I really despise the early access thing, but that's a different podcast entirely. But you do still have conventions where like video game designers will have a setup where they've preloaded a level and you play. Sometimes they even have to kind of like, some console hacks to get it back to that. But there are still like real world demos of things that you wouldn't typically see just sitting at home that are important.
So like E3, right?
Yeah,
so,
E3 or Game Developers Conference.
Yeah, PAX, stuff like that. You'll get game developers that'll come there. Like I can think like most notably this last E3, Kingdom Hearts 3, they had a demo there, but I just couldn't go and download a demo of Kingdom Hearts 3 and play at home. If I'd been at that conference, if I'd been at that, event, I could have stood in line for hours and hours and hours to get my 10 minutes maybe to play.
But then you also have the added benefit of a designer or a booth babe or somebody representing the business that's also trying to hype you up while you're playing it, talking to you about it. And you've got some interaction about at least some portion of the development related to that. So it's a very different demo experience, I think. But it's a big thing because those things still do generate a lot of word of mouth. So it's kind of a seed into the system.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, gosh, every gamer with the blog tries to go to these things, right? Because they want to be the first one to write about it and talk about it and like podcasters that want to go with a press pass, and it's crazy. Seriously, the nerve of these people. Maybe that's my 40th birthday. No joke. So let me ask you this: like, do you think though the demos, open betas, do you really think that for the most part they're a positive experience for building hype for a game, or do you think it's kind of a mixed bag?
It's a mixed bag. To be frank, I wish we had old school demos that had like the problem is I wish we had old school demos. The problem is it's really not so much the demo style that's changed as so much as it's a symptom of how games are even developed these days. Games are developed like with the open beta style development where you start getting gamer feedback throughout it, basically having gamers be your designers for free.
Right.
And you have this constant iterative cycle of development rather than making sure a game is 100% solid before you launch it. Games are now expected to be extremely flawed by the time you ever see it. So you're not going to think about that. The game is not finished when you launch it. How bad off is it going to be during a demo? Whereas if you have an open beta instead, you've got your full disclaimer of, hey, it's a beta. Right. We know it's broken.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why we don't see as many demos these days. But I would love to have games be solid at launch and have solid demos, even if it's single player only. Like you could easily do like a one-player version of someone running through one of the simple dungeons in World of Warcraft, for example, or something that's entirely offline, or it's just one thing, and then you just completely replicate it, throw it out to thousands of people, and they're playing that. They're not taking your server space. They're not involved in forums and all that, but it gives them that bite of the game. I remember Metroid was one of the ones that I had a demo for, and I played that demo itself like probably 30 times.
Time Bandits 2. I don't know why, but I played that demo like over and over and over again. I do kind of find, Stu, and I don't know, tell me if you have this experience. I feel like certain genres lend themselves to demos a little easier than others. I think the first-person shooter really lends itself to a demo. Like, I remember playing something for like one of the first Battlefield games, Battlefield, maybe even Battlefield 2. And I remember playing that like crazy because it's, if it's the campaign, it's just literally you. And then the rest is all the AI. So it doesn't need interaction. But I feel like there's certain things that like demos are harder. Like, for instance, you brought up MMOs. Like if you had to do an MMO where they wanted to demo a raid or a dungeon, like you have to have other people online. You have to coordinate all that. And that seems to be less, not saying it doesn't happen, but it seems to be less of a thing versus, in my opinion, first-person shooters. I see tons of that kind of demo.
I think things could be scaled to support single-player MMO experiences to at least give you the idea of how the game plays. You've got your controls, combat system, you level a few times, you see that aspect of it. The monsters are a little bit dumbed down, but you get to see the architecture and the monster types. I don't think that would be difficult. Games like Asteroids, though, can't imagine a demo for Asteroids.
Right.
Because that's really the same thing over and over again. But I think like Metroidvanias are also perfect ones where you have like a level or something like that you can easily play and just have that, you can even just kind of carve that out of the game itself and push that out there.
So what's interesting is I was kind of looking online, knowing we were going to kind of talk about this, about how some demos have just like a level, but then some demos have like quite a bit of the game. Off the top of your head, can you remember any demos that had more than just like a level, quite a bit? Because I've got a list with a couple, but...
No.
Okay. So this is...
I'm sure as soon as you say that, I'm going,
this isn't a game I've played, but the Minecraft demo was a time thing. You got 100-minute time limit. And then once you hit the 100-minute, then it was like, boop, you're done. It was going to bounce you back out. But that's interesting, though, because it's a very specific amount, right? It was just...
Sure, it's the America Online of video games.
Right. Final Fantasy 15 gave you basically like a 4-hour demo. So you got to play like 4 hours of that. So 4 hours of continuous gameplay or whatever. Which,
interesting,
for a Final Fantasy game, 4 hours isn't a ton.
You're still in the main story launching before you even get to the open-ended play.
Right, but it is a bit. What I did find interesting is, did you ever play that game Bravely Default?
I have it. I played it a little bit. Did not grab me. I have a hard time with like handheld MMOs.
Yeah, I haven't.
Sorry, handheld RPGs. It's not. Yeah.
I always kind of wanted to get to the game, but I never did. But I was looking around. It had a 10-hour demo.
That game does kind of get into stuff probably at about hour 2. So that's a good chunk.
I thought that was really interesting. But here's the best. Here's the top. I think this is...
I also have Octopath Traveler and did the same thing. Dang it.
Oh, really?
Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I started playing it and just never really got into it.
My brother's not an RPG guy, but he really loved that game, which kind of surprised me. Okay, this is probably the best one as far as like time-wise. Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty let you play the first quarter, the first 25% of the game with cutscenes, full music, full gameplay, everything. Just a quarter of the game right off the bat. And I gotta say, like, in today's day and age, I mean, obviously Metal Gear Solid 2 is a much older game, but in today's day and age, I can't imagine any big developer saying, here, play a quarter of our game for free.
Actually, I mean, I know that developers are going to be scared off by that, but that's actually not a bad idea. And the reason I say that is Steam a couple years ago started their new refund system, where if you've played the game less than 2 full hours, whatever, you can just request a refund and it almost automatically gives it to you. Like no justification, no nothing. You've played less than 2 hours, you can get it back, which effectively makes every game a demo in a certain way.
Sure.
But to give, I mean, if you were to give people more time than that 2-hour window, that could actually be a much more effective demo around that whole refund policy, because then you don't have to process any refunds. You don't have, like I'm sure Steam has some quality control things for games that have a lot of refunds where they'll, not work with you as well or whatever the case may be. You give people a demo to where you're getting people to buy it that actually want to buy it and we're going to get past that 2 hours. That's a solid sell.
It's not bad. It kind of reminds me of the Audible thing where you can listen to a whole book, and then if you don't like it, you can return it back and get another book with that credit. Little different, but at least there are companies that are allowing you to kind of do that and kind of give you the, as they call the lemon law, the ability to to turn it back in. Let me ask you this: have you ever played a demo of a game you were hyped for, but the demo just absolutely turned you off from the game, and you just said, "No, I'm not going to buy this"?
Yes, actually, and surprisingly enough, Diablo, the very first Diablo game. You could play it was either the first or the first 2 levels of the dungeon. The first time I tried Diablo, I hated it. I was looking for a solid RPG experience, and it was really just running around clicking things and killing them, which is Rogue, basically, with a new skin. I hated that, didn't like it, and it wasn't until a couple years later that a buddy of mine was playing it, and I got back into it and then fell in love with the entire series. But yeah, I mean, the demo, I was hyped for the game. Everyone I knew was getting it when it first came out. Played the demo, and I missed that boat because I hated the demo.
I was trying to think if there's a demo that I played that just really...
I know Anthem is doing that for a lot of people.
See, and of course, that's my worry right now, because of course I didn't play the demo, but I'm not going to be getting the game when it first comes out. And so I fully intend, like most games, this is going to have problems, it's going to have bugs, and hopefully most of those big things are worked out by the time I get back.
Well, I would say the peace of mind there should be the thing that everyone's complaining about is the server stability and general ability to play the game, not the play style at all. I have not seen any negative crap about, that this game is just not fun to play, because it's, I mean, even if there were, it's completely whitewashed, with the connection issues and stuff. So, but I mean, I'm still going to play it. So
yeah. I'm really trying to think if there's a demo that I've ever played that's really soured me towards something where I was like, nah, I was going to, but now I'm not. And I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Now, let me ask you the reverse question, because I think that we probably have more answers to this. Has there been a demo you played for a game you weren't really planning on buying, but then you played the demo and you went, okay, yes, I'm definitely on board and I'm going to go get that game?
No Man's Sky.
Really? The demo for No Man's Sky?
Yeah. And the funny thing is I mean, everybody was complaining that half of the game, as advertised, they even had the screenshots, which I think we talked about before, on Steam of some of the game features. They had supposed in-game screenshots, and then some of those features never made it in. Which, so now they changed the policy on Steam. You have to have, that has to be actual representation of the game. But the demo did not get anywhere close to what you were going to be doing later on. It definitely had the focus on the first stuff you do in the game, going and finding your minerals, repairing your ship, all that stuff. I loved that. And that was fantastic. So I got a 5-hour demo of that, which is the only time I've had a developer reach out to me on Steam to offer a demo or whatever. I see reviews all the time. This product was offered for free. How do I get to be that guy?
Yeah, right.
So I got a 5-hour demo of No Man's Sky. Loved it to death. Have played it. I've actually liked the game. I don't think it warrants all the hate that it got. The game has gotten much better by itself since. Right. But No Man's Sky is probably one of the more notable later ones.
I go back in time on this one. This is an older game, but do you remember the TIE Fighter series? They were PC games, Star Wars TIE Fighter.
We have talked about that before.
Yes, we
Yes, I
have.
do. And I own them.
I don't own them anymore, but I do remember.
They have them on Steam.
I remember getting a demo of that, and my dad had a flight stick for some just like flight simulator game he had that I couldn't stand.
You can't see it, but I have one right over there.
I don't want to see your flight simulator stick. But I played the demo, and I remember falling in love with it so much that as soon as that game came out, I bought that. And then I bought like the next couple games in that series until eventually I think I moved out of the house and I didn't have a PC for a while. But that was one of those ones where, you know, I had no interest in some sort of a flight simulator, even though it was kind of a Star Wars, one. And then bam, the demo just turned my head around completely on it.
No, I loved it. Oh, and that just reminded me. I don't know why that just clicked a memory. But I remember playing on a 300 baud modem, like super, super old modem that you had a hand cradle phone that you set down on the modem. And I remember downloading Carmen Sandiego.
Oh, yes.
Which came from a demo that had like the first mission.
Uh-huh. Yep.
That was probably the first real demo, maybe not the first memorable demo anyway, of any rate. So, and that got me hooked on that series, which, by the way, has a Netflix series.
I know. I haven't watched it yet, but I have seen it on my...
I need to watch that with Morgana.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think it'd be good to watch with the kids.
Yeah.
But
there is one other aspect of demos, though, that I think is worth mentioning, and that's the technical demo. Talking about Unreal, Havoc, Crysis.
Yeah, the engine.
These games... The games that come out with a brand new engine that are designed to really show off everything that engine can do, because those games are usually the best of the breed because they're showing everything the engine can do, and other games are going to take and use it and only use the parts that they need, whatever. But like seeing Crysis on a demo machine that's built just to play that game, that's a pretty intense thing.
Yeah.
And those things are really meant to show off that engine or hardware or things like that, to where it's not really about selling the game to people so much as what's behind the game, what are you playing the game on. And those things, I think, are extremely effective in the markets that they're meant to hit.
I feel like the technical demos you see a lot at like the E3 conferences and the PAXs and that sort of thing, because that is very much a talking point.
And those are like the headliners.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Because it's really like we want to show what this can do. Because how many times have I looked at a game and it was like, this is using the Unreal Engine, and I immediately go, ooh, this is going to be a good game. Because I know what that engine was capable of based off of tech demos and other things that have come out before.
I've actually developed on the Unreal Engine when I was going to college for game development. Weird.
Yeah.
But the Unreal Engine was like the thing that made that possible was like, comparatively speaking, was a simpler script engine that could invoke really powerful tools, really great looking models, to where a layman with some reference material in front of them could actually build their own mods. And I actually had something that popped up on Facebook a little while ago where one of my classes, we had built a level for Fallout 3.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, it was not on the Unreal 3 engine, but their scripting tool was based off of the Unreal 3 scripting tool. So, but yeah, I mean, you're obviously not going to mass market there, but you have a bunch of budding game developers or modders. They're going to go crazy over those kinds of demos.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Anyway.
Well, Stu, let me ask you, is there any demos that is there any games coming up on the horizon that you want to play a demo of that you would like to get your hands on first before you jump in?
Are there games coming out after Anthem?
Yeah, probably a few.
Not sure. Like, I mean, everything big was like last year. Last year was big for games. You know, everyone was still playing God of War, Redemption 2, Spider-Man. Those were some solid things. Maybe, Mortal Kombat 11. Actually, that would be a great demoable game. I love the Mortal Kombat games. I'm not any good at them, so they don't have a lot of longevity, but I like playing them, seeing all the cool stuff and the fatalities, and then once I've seen those, the next thing is, online or competitive play, and I'm doomed. So
I'm on board for playing any demo if it's something where I'm on the fence on a game, but something like when The Last of Us 2 comes out. I don't want to play a demo of that. I don't want to play a single level because I want to enjoy that game for what it is because I love the first one. All I want to hear is someone play the demo or play part of it or see part of it and say the gameplay feels just like the first one. It's still just as solid as the first one. That's all I care about. Because if the gameplay is the same, I'm good. I know the story is going to be great. I know I'm going to have a wonderful time. But it's when people come in and say, yeah, they jacked up the controls and it doesn't feel right and, the gameplay is just off. That's hard. I mean, a good story will carry a bad gameplay, but yeah, it still can make it a little janky and hard to play. So
one thing I've noticed, though, is that a lot of games on the Switch you can download demos for.
Yeah.
I just never do.
Yeah, me neither. Not on my Switch, at least. I think.
But I mean, that's.
I'm trying to.
It's there. It's available.
I'm trying to think what was the last big demo. I mean, I've downloaded some of these free-to-play games lately on the PS4. Like I said, Apex Legends. But I remember downloading the Final Fantasy 15 demo. And I played an hour of that or whatever, and I just was kind of fine. It feels like a Final Fantasy game. But I don't know. I feel like lately I haven't downloaded as many demos, just because I feel like you said, last year with the big games like God of War and Spider-Man and Red Dead 2, I knew I was getting a lot of those games. Not so much on the Red Dead 2, but on the Spider-Man and the God of War. So I didn't bother touching any demos because I knew I was going to get the game.
Which I have dived into Red Dead Redemption 2 now, and it's pretty boss.
Yeah, I think I may play mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so once we're done with this discussion, I do have an afterthought, but demo stuff. We're talking demo stuff, and I keep leading us astray.
Yeah.
What else are we talking about demos?
No, man, that's it, man. This is freewheeling. We're just kind of, I don't know, just
freewheeling.
Yeah, we're talking about demos because, the big Anthem thing, and it's on my mind because I want to play this, but I didn't do the demo, and I heard a lot of bad things, but that seems all, like you said, server-related. I'm hoping that's all going to be...
You should watch their new trailer.
Really? Is the trailer good?
There's a new trailer for Anthem that has, this new remix of Crazy Train.
I'm on board. Okay.
And it's got some in-game fight kind of stuff with the mechs. It's pretty good. I enjoyed that a heck of a lot more than I would have enjoyed the demo even if I had gotten to play.
Really? Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
It's about a minute and a half. It's worth it. So something occurred to me while we're sitting here talking about demos and stuff, and it's kind of been rolling around in the back of my mind. And harking back to the video game addiction episode, which I've kind of been thinking about a bit lately, because I'm in a new relationship, and it's that's kind of a part of who I am, so I have to be cognizant of that. Sure. And how does that fit into things. I have not been playing many video games lately.
Really?
I have not been playing many video games when I get up or when I go to bed. I have this weird level of peace that I haven't had even when I was married before, when I was dating before I was married, after I was married.
Are you filling that with other things like TV or movies or books or anything else, per se?
I haven't really felt a need for much else. I'm enjoying things. I'm still watching Game of Thrones, right, but I'm not feeling that anxiety of...
You have to do something in order to kind of...
Right. Because, that was real. That was even just up to a couple weeks ago, that was every day. Every day. Even before taking Morgana to school, a couple levels of Diablo 3, or, firing up Slay the Spire before I go to bed, because that was a nice wind down kind of thing, and it kind of let things melt away before I could go to sleep. So...
Would you say this started prior to Katina?
Nope. Actually, even the first couple days that we were talking and stuff before we had ever met. And actually even after we had met for a couple days, maybe.
Interesting.
But.
That is. Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's weird, though. Whatever. It's my podcast, too. You super friends, I apologize, but you're going to have to bear with me. I just like something about her and like everything we've been doing, spending time together, something in my life has clicked in a major way that just, I mean, aside from like little moments of anxiety here and there, whatever, but as a general overall state of being, I'm kind of peaceful and going with things, and things just keep getting better almost on a daily basis, and not just with her and other parts of my life. So it's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Sorry for embarrassing you, honey. She's going to kill me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did call her Katana.
Yeah.
She'll forgive you.
Yeah.
Or she'll forgive me, hopefully, for bringing it up again.
Maybe.
So,
anyway,
yeah,
sorry.
That's good. It's an interesting little side note, a callback to, we're talking demos and video games. That's awesome. Let me ask you a question, Stu, and then we'll kind of wrap this, kind of put a bow on this thing and kind of get out of here. Is the demo something you see? Is that something that's going to be sticking around? Do you think we're going to continue to see demos for a long time, or do you think eventually?
Oh, we'll have demos forever, but demos as a mainstream advertising model have been gone for a while.
Yeah, it's the open beta now, right? I mean, that's really...
Yeah. Even if they call it a demo, it's still an open beta, apparently.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think the days of the old school demos are pretty much gone, unless you're at a trade show. But yeah, I think from now on, it's just going to be here's an open beta, things are broken, servers, you're going to have problems, but that's the way things are going to be.
Yeah, and then you're going to point out the 90% of the things that you're going to point out all the things that are noticeable. Those are the things we're going to focus on fixing first.
Yeah. And then we'll get to the little real things that are hidden you don't necessarily see later down the road.
That suddenly open up your iPad to monitoring everything you do and say for the next couple hours.
Yeah, that seems legit.
Things like that.
Yeah. For sure.
Sure.
All right, Stu. Well, this typically is when we'd ask our super friends a question. We'd ask them, what demos do they love? What's their favorite demos? Here's the deal, though. This podcast is going to release on Thursday. Come Saturday morning, I am on a plane to Florida, and we're not really going to be... I'm recording some other episodes. We're going to record later this week. I've got to be recording with Brita. We're not really going to be able to facilitate the old ask a question, get an answer sort of thing for the next 2 weeks or so.
However, that wouldn't stop anybody from just letting us know what they are anyway.
That is true. By all means, super friends, if you want to talk to Stu and you want to let him know what's your favorite demo,
I will check the Twitters. I will.
Hit him up on Twitter at ForwardOfNerd. You can get him on Facebook, facebook.com/ForwardOfNerd. You can send that email, forwardofnerd@gmail.com, or give us a voicemail, 801-477-7687. And maybe we'll do kind of like a madcap roundup of some questions when I come back, because there might be some lingering answers out there, Stu. That's an idea. It's a possibility.
Good.
But anyway, we got some good things coming up this week that'll release normally for you, super friends. So don't fear, even though I'm going to be sailing in the Caribbean somewhere on an island, sipping a drink with a little umbrella, I'm still here for you.
You're not going to be thinking about anybody but that margarita.
I'm just saying.
The Shirley Temple margarita.
Well, yeah, of course. All right. Well, Stu, from all of us here at the Fortress of Nerditude to all of our super friends out there, wherever they may be, may the Force be with you.
Always.